to the Popcorn Junkies.
Hola.
Hello.
So we're reviewing The Dig, which is a new Netflix film starring Carey Mulligan, Ralph Fiennes, Lily James, Johnny Flynn, Ken Stott. It was quite a cast, isn't it?
Ben Chaplin, who I really rate as an actor.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yes.
And it's a directorial debut for Simon Stone.
Yes, who did Yerma.
Theatre director.
Yes.
Yeah, did he? Oh, he directed
He did
Yerma at the Young Vic, which was one of my favourite plays of
Did you
last
see
year.
him?
I know.
Maddie's about to watch
I
it,
need
starring
to watch
Billy
it.
Piper. And if you've got the National
They went mad
Theatre
about it.
at Home app, you can watch Yerma on that. I would fully recommend. It's worth the $9.99 1-month fee just to watch that. And as I say, it's based on a book called The Dig by John Preston.
John Preston.
And it pivots around the archaeological dig at Sutton Hoo that me and Kiki have learnt about, all about an Anglo-Saxon burial.
Sounds like a Dr. Seuss. Sutton Hoo.
Sutton Hoo. Sutton Hoo.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fascinated to know because this was a film that surprised me,
And me.
in many ways.
And me.
I wanted to watch it mainly for two reasons. One, Dark Ages. The Dark Ages. The Dark Ages in British history are dark because there simply isn't a lot.
Record.
Well, yeah, there's no record of them, exactly, Maddie. There's no written material. There's very limited evidence of what went on in this period, sort of around 400 to 700 AD. It's Vikings time, Anglo-Saxon time, post-Roman time, when the Romans departed Britain and left us.
Wow.
And so it's a rich moment in history, so we won't be watching it for that. But I am an enormous Carey Mulligan fan.
Yes.
I really like it.
I'm an enormous Ralph Fiennes fan.
Yeah.
If only, what was it he says in that movie, Hail Caesar?
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so simple.
Well, I am a...
Trippingly.
Say trippingly.
I am a Ralph Fiennes fan until the...
But what stopped us from...
Oh, because Mark went to see him in something where he reminded him of...
Yes, no, Miss Jones.
Leonard Rossiter. And the
Rossiter.
terrible thing was that I've always rated Ralph Fiennes, and about the next three films I saw him in, he was only Leonard Rossiter.
Was it a hard sell? When you were settling down, Maddie, I'm curious to know, as a sort of red-blooded 18-year-old, wishing pubs were open, wanted to hang out with friends and go to raves, was a film about the Sutton Hoo Anglo-Saxon burial mound not necessarily a thing that's going to rock
Yeah,
your
I mean,
boat?
it wasn't necessarily...
Top of your list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I
mean, we haven't seen the trailer
I
for it.
said
or
the fact
anything.
that it's called The Dig. I was just
Yes.
Yeah.
okay.
It's pretty much, it's what they call Ronseal. You know, what's on the tin is in the can.
Yeah, when I was like, what are we watching? Dan was like, oh, a film about a dig.
And I
Called
did-
The Dig
Yeah, and I
with
had to
archaeologists.
And I had to give a few sort of caveats to kind of sell it to my co-movie fan over there. Well, Carey Mulligan we love, and we really liked her in that film directed by Paul Dano. So I knew she'd be a sell. I knew you liked Ralph Fiennes, but I also knew that it was, I'd heard through reviews and what have you, that it was shot in a very creative, inventive, and quite modernistic for essentially a period drama, isn't it?
Yeah.
Way.
I was interested, which is classic ex-librarian thing, was that I remember the book coming out, and the book was a small sort of hardback, really sort of caught your eye sort of stuff, and the fact it was such a short title, made you sort of go towards it. So I was interested in it for that reason.
Yeah, one thing I didn't sell it on was Lily James, because we're not particularly enormous fans of Lily James. But I have to say, I thought she availed of herself quite well in Rebecca, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Opposite Armie Hammer, don't mention.
God, don't mention his name.
So it's weird that Armie Hammer's name has arm in it, given the cannibalistic sort of connection. Yeah.
Armie Hammer.
Don't Armie Hammer.
Look, don't get
it's almost like he's living up to his name. Anyway, sorry, we digress. So if I'd have known Lily James in it, that would have been a mark against it, I hate to say, to begin with.
Yeah, thank God I didn't know.
So what drew you to it, Mum, bar the book?
Well, the cast,
yes.
I have to say. I didn't know anything about the shooting of it or the filming of it, and I knew even less, I have to say, about that actual period of history.
This was one of the very rare occasions we as a family sat down as a family and watched the film in the afternoon.
Oh yeah, with Mum as well.
With Mum as well, yeah. So Nadia watched this.
I watched it separately.
Kiki watched it, and it's a very slow, languorous, meditative watch, and that's not a criticism.
No.
How did you feel about its pace?
I liked its
That's
pace.
a good description of its pace, though,
Because it didn't even really come to like a big crescendo.
No, it didn't.
One of the very negative reviews said that, well, not even a negative review, but they said it was like sitting at a bus stop waiting for a bus that never comes.
That's not very nice,
Which is
it?
really, really unfair,
so
because
horrible.
it is very slow, but as you said exactly, I think it pays
No,
for its
because
slowness.
like when I say there wasn't like a big crescendo, that doesn't mean that it was like nothing happened. You know,
Well,
it
no, I
didn't feel
think
like
you-
you were watching for nothing to happen. It was just there wasn't usually with films that are that slow. There's like a big thing that happens in the
building
end,
to.
whereas there was more just like little, quite sad things that
Yeah,
kept being thrown
yeah.
in.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I think
I think the biggest like bit was when all the mud.
I was
fell
just
and
going to
stuff.
say that there
yeah.
was a sort of climax a quarter of the way through it, wasn't there? In some
It
sense,
was quite early on in the film.
It is
Yeah.
quite early on. It's
That
about 30 minutes in, actually.
Yeah.
Well, did you know that
No.
Carey Mulligan was unaware that Ralph Fiennes had said to the director, "Just let it cover me,"
He was actually.
and so he was actually under there. And as she was digging for him, she thought he couldn't breathe, and as he was
Oh
under
my
there,
God.
apparently Ralph Fiennes was under there, going, "I hope to God they don't scratch my face off," because they were digging quite.
don't know where he
meaningfully.
was.
Oh,
he had a
because
sort of
that's-
hidden straw.
So
or
that
something.
scene, she's actually really.
She's genuinely
traumatised 'cause
worried.
She
They're
can't get him
genuinely-
out.
I mean, I think she knows that he's not going to die, but
Oh
he's
my
genuinely
God!
under
I mean,
the
that's
soil.
an amazing scene. It
Yeah.
really
Yeah, it
pays
was
pays
really
for
good.
itself.
So very early
doesn't
on,
it?
so basically the catch for the story is that Carey Mulligan plays this landowner, I think Edith
Mrs.
Pretty,
Pretty.
yeah, Mrs. Pretty, who apparently Nadia's mum knew the daughter of or something. There's a-
No. So Betty's grandmother
Yeah.
was
Yes.
knew her,
That's right, it was friends. And she,
Wow.
and by
and
all
she'd
accounts,
given her pieces from the
Sutton Hoo.
dig.
So
No.
Betty's possibly got things. Really, the long and the short of it, Edith Pretty discovers this barrow on her land. It's a burial ground. They know that they're burial grounds, and her and Ralph Fiennes, her senior excavator, a local excavator, decide to target one of them. And this is the backstory to them discovering the burial mound of a boat and all of the treasure within
Yeah.
of a Anglo-Saxon grave.
He's an expert, but in
Ralph
in,
Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes, but a so-called expert in the sense that he's not
Self-taught expert.
self-taught exactly.
And I thought it was a really good film about that. I thought
I
it was,
did,
yeah.
I did, yeah,
I think it was a really interesting film about
Hierarchy and
intellectual class.
yeah.
And
And in fact, in the end, did you see at the end sort of thing that
Well,
came
yeah.
up that his name wasn't actually
Yes.
included to begin with as part
Yeah.
of the find?
Yeah, yeah,
But then
absolutely.
eventually it was, which
But I thought what was a really
Oh,
intriguing layer and pulse to it was I thought Ralph Fiennes played it mesmerically.
do,
I thought
absolutely
it was underplayed.
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
Because sometimes actors can too obviously underplay.
I agree
Yeah.
entirely, but he didn't know. He
No.
gave it everything with no Leonard Rossiter at all.
No Leonard
Mum
Rossiter.
said she saw hints. She got
Yeah,
a
she
hint.
got-
yeah.
oh, she saw
Nadia
it.
said there was a
That's-
moment. There was a Rossiter moment. Yeah, which she forgave him. I mean, I think I'm right in saying I think Maddie, you got very attached to his character, didn't
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
loved
I
him.
really
He was
liked
just so
him too.
sweet.
you? He was
I
so
know he
sweet.
broke my heart. Just like how much he actually loved the boat and the
Yeah.
digging and his job.
Except that in terms, he wasn't very nice to his wife, actually.
Well, he kind of neglected her somewhat.
did neglect her.
And there was.
Did you think I kind of saw it as just like a silent love they had?
Yes.
Like they
yeah,
didn't really need
I mean,
to
they
show
played
it.
it. Yeah, no, there is that.
I thought they had
Yeah.
true companionship.
Yeah, he didn't answer a
Yeah,
letter.
Kiki thought it was his mum.
It's really important to know that we're parked just before the outbreak of World War II as well.
Yeah.
So we're in 1939.
Yeah, which is crucial in a
It
way.
is
'cause that's
crucial.
what, you know.
And but Carey Mulligan's also very ill. And so
Yes.
there's this real vulnerability surrounding the boy.
Yeah,
And often with little boy actors in these sorts of things, they're usually really
annoying.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they
I think
can
it's
be.
Archie Barnes was his name. He was rocking.
He was.
That one scene where he was, where, you know, when he bumps into, where he finds his
Yes.
character and he's crying. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
He's
thought
so young as well.
so young to be able to play that. But I tell you what I also liked about it was I thought it was going to go the obvious route
Yes.
of Ray Fiennes kind of father figuring him. And,
Yes, I
but
did.
it didn't go the obvious route. It kind
No.
of there was a degree. I mean, there was a moment actually where Ralph Fiennes' character was, you know, the boy was clearly distressed.
No, he wasn't that good, was he? He was
Well,
like,
it was
we
like-
fail.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
fail, and we fail.
Oh,
We fail at some things. Instead of
Yeah.
encouraging you to fail as
I was
well.
waiting for him to give us some
Oh.
rousing kind of
Yes.
character building thing. He said, "No, it's failure. It's a fail.
Yeah,
you
you
failed."
failed.
Oh right, okay. And I liked that. It was sort
No,
of
Yeah,
I
it was
did.
quite realistic.
I did.
yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, Ralph Fiennes was one of those. He was playing one of those guys who, like Nadia said, he was of the earth. There was a lovely
Yes.
scene, or lovely shot rather,
well,
of him sat on the bankside as a boat went by,
Oh, yeah.
and he may as well
That
have
was
been
so
like
good.
a kingfisher.
Yes.
That's
I mean-
what I mean, how much he loved what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you could see that he was kind of imagining what it would
Yeah.
have been like, the actual
Yeah.
boat when he was...
What do we think of Carey Mulligan?
I thought she was really good
She's
in it,
always
actually.
great, actually.
Mm.
Yeah, she was great.
She was very good at the kind of underlying, like, again, at the kind of underplaying it, I thought.
Yeah, because she was. I mean, your mum said from the outset, "Oh gosh, she looks really unwell," and at that point we didn't know she was unwell.
No.
And then we discovered she,
She
was
looked
unwell.
sad in
She
it.
looked so
she looked
sad.
really
She looked
sad.
heartbroken.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
got a heartbreaking
All
face.
the time, yeah.
But sort of absolutely determined to do it her way at the same time. Steely.
Yeah.
Steely, but sort of frail in a sense.
And what did you think of? There was clearly the inference that there was a romantic hope from her with Ralph Fiennes.
That's what I felt.
Did you get that?
Like
on
when she
dinner?
saw when his wife came round, she was like,
Yes. And she thought she was going to have dinner with him on her own, and then
Oh, okay.
then it was cancelled.
yeah, I think it was very
Very
short moment of the film, but I
thought that was a really rich detail to give you because it gave you a real sense of her yearning for, I suppose she was aware, Carey Mulligan's character, that she's going to perhaps die, and that her son was going to be left.
Yes.
Yeah. I felt like the film in the way it was shot and the way it was lit, or the way in which there was a lack of lighting in a sense, and it was very dusky. It was very sort of granular. It had that grain of sort of the ground. It felt like an archaeological dig in itself.
The colours.
That sort of scraping away at colours and you go through layers, and as they discovered the boat, the film is very, and I love it when you don't often get films that almost in their essence reflect the subject.
No, especially not sort of such a difficult in a way.
And such a static subject.
Yeah.
I mean, it is one of the most dramatic moments. It's weirdly, it's a film full of dramatic highs and lows. It's all about relationships, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about.
And when you look at it coldly, you would think, oh, this is going to be, this is going to be boring.
Absolutely. I think you've got to commit to the idea that this is a mindful afternoon watch, perfect for a rainy afternoon. And then, of course, the film sort of shifts a gear once they've discovered something really significant. Ralph Fiennes has been buried. I thought there was some wonderful visual poetry with Ralph Fiennes. Essentially, the excavator was being excavated himself.
Yeah, I thought that was so powerful.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so meta.
Yeah.
I mean, if he could have found himself, he could have dug himself out.
It's so interesting you saying that she didn't know, because I sort of thought, as I was watching it, I wonder if that actually happened, and suddenly they found Ralph Fiennes underneath the earth.
I was
so
worried he was gonna
realistic.
die. But then the film sort of shifts into a completely different thing where the British Museum becomes involved, and our baddie, I love the way in which you always have to have a baddie, played by the absolutely remarkable Ken Stott.
He was so good in it.
He was he's all nose now, isn't he?
He is.
See, that nose has taken some investment.
It's because he's always apoplectic.
I'm amazed
and he gives
he
himself
hasn't blown
an
a
apoplectic
gasket.
nose.
Yeah, so it's like all the tension in Ken Stott's
Goes to
acting
his
career is in
nose.
his nose.
Yeah.
But I mean, he never used to have a nose like that.
No, that's
It's
true actually.
gross.
It has got bigger.
It's astonishing. Anyway,
No, he was really good.
wasn't he good?
You really felt his.
Yeah, he was horrible.
What's his pain?
But it was good because it was a film that needed that kind of.
Yeah.
It needed
that kind of
villainous,
character,
kind of irritating.
And it's pretty difficult to make the British Museum villainous.
Well,
I mean, you've got to.
Is it?
I think it's easy to. I think the British Museum is a nasty institution that's pillaged the world.
Well, in that sense.
And in this case, he was thinking I could just pillage a Norfolk or Suffolk.
Well,
field.
no, I know,
Because
but I
I'm
thought
a
it was a
British
big.
Museum.
Yeah, okay.
And then I have to confess, my
So
biggest
no to that.
No, my biggest awkward moment then was not wig moment for me,
Okay.
but Lily James's glasses.
Don't get me started with
James's
James's glasses.
Come on, guys, you've
It
got to
was
do better than just.
awful. She looked like it was such an obvious I'm the geeky archaeologist girl.
Yeah, I can't remember.
With my short bob and fake glasses.
It was It didn't get her off on a good footing for me.
It was awful.
Didn't set her off on a good footing for me.
Literally, she looked just like her husband.
Yes,
She did.
She did, and there was a really good story that is told there. And I have to say, I think it's a tribute to Lily James that she
was good in
overcame her glasses.
I was going to say it wasn't that bad.
Oh, mum,
Oh,
she
no, it
walked
was
on set. She may as well
awful,
have walked on set like this.
Yeah.
I mean, mate, she sort of stood in the middle of the dig and she went,
I
"Hello,
dig."
I'm Lily James.
She did actually. But
It was
also, you've got to
awful.
remember I'm a librarian, so I'm used to people having glasses.
True.
No, but it was just so like, this character is the geeky archaeologist
Yes.
girl with big Harry
Yeah.
Potter glasses.
Yes,
And
yes.
Big
bob.
Harry Potter. It's like the costume designer had said, I worked on Harry Potter. Plop them on. It was,
Apparently, that character as well had far more heft than we're given knowledge of.
well, she wanted sex as well, didn't she? She was flopping her body back.
No,
No,
they
shut
made that
up,
With
that's
her
awful.
partner. I mean, with her partner, she was like, come on, mister,
Understandably.
I'm married, we're going to do it.
Yeah, but he.
I felt sorry for her.
I felt sorry
I
for her,
did.
and in the end, what was
And
really
him.
nice, I felt sorry
Oh.
for him too.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
I know
Yeah.
I
feel
did.
sorry for him at all.
No, I didn't during, but I loved that scene of understanding when she
Yes.
was like, you go, and
Yeah.
he was like, he gave that silent thanks because he knew what she
Yeah.
meant, and he
Yeah.
I thought that scene was actually really good from both of them.
I did.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought that was really nice, and there was a realization in him that she was doing the best. I mean, it was a time where you couldn't come out, so he was as trapped as she was unloved.
It was very well acted, I have to say.
Well acted. And is that Ben Chaplin? Is that him?
Yeah, I think he's
very good.
fantastic. He's
He
not
was
in
really
many
good,
things
yeah.
these days.
Were you close to tears? Because I found your mum was. Yeah,
I cried in the
I was
bit
crying.
where the little boy was telling the mum about the stars in the boat.
And of course, Ralph Fiennes is sort of. You're right, Mum. You look like you're going to go.
No, I'm not going to go.
Oh right.
I know. I also cried in the bit where Carey Mulligan says that she's going to. That his name is going. Ralph Fiennes' name is going to be.
Yeah. She was such a sort of.
And his reaction to
his
it, he was just like, "Thank you."
His eyes held all that sort of pride and disbelief that
Yeah.
perhaps he was going to be recognised.
Yeah.
He was so good in
And I thought that was a really important thing about this whole idea of experts. And I thought it was really good to see something that promoted the amateur, for want of a better
Self-taught,
expression,
yes.
the self-taught, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there was a wonderful moment where he actually sort of had a line, I thought, Ralph Fiennes' character, where he talked about something to do with learning. I remembered it at the time when we watched it. It stood out as a kind of almost a credo for homeschooling, which is, everything I've learned and everything that I've been taught. I've been taught myself through books and reading. And this idea of, having a passion. And he mentions at one point that he didn't sort of go on at school. And I thought, just wrong-footing us again about this idea of what educated means.
Yeah.
Or being specialist.
And I loved how he was right the whole time, because how he was kept saying he thought it was Anglo-Saxon. And I was like, can't be Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah.
And he totally just showed, I loved that.
Yeah, and that moment where it can stop.
He
was
like...
can stop with his nose. His the Dark Ages just got a lot lighter. He's just a gnarly, brilliant character actor. I love Ken Stott. And one point we've talked about camera work, but I've got to give a particular shout out to the very clever use of slipped sound. And where characters would be talking
I love
from scene to scene, and they would intercut or roll the dialogue underneath the next scene or another
I
scene.
didn't notice that. That's
so the
terrible.
audio from a different scene would be playing when the next scene was happening.
God, I usually pride myself on being.
And it did it a fair few times. And there were a few moments. The whole film was moments like that. So it gave it a sort of poetic.
Sort of underground.
Yeah, underground. Yeah, that's true. Underground, but it also gave it that sense of what history is and what archaeology is, which is finding shards of unrelated things that kind of relate to each other in a different way.
I'm going to have to see it again.
But some of those scenes were so strong where you'd actually have, I remember Johnny Flynn and Lily James were in one particular scene where they were talking, but they weren't talking.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
So let's sum up and score it. Nadia's insisting on not doing out of 100. I said to her, it gives you more scope to go for numbers in between.
Listen to her.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I loved it. The only false note was the Johnny Flynn for me.
Oh, right.
And
that story.
I didn't even mind Lily James's glasses. I found them quite attractive.
I think you need to watch it again.
No,
I didn't mind Lily James, but I did mind her glasses.
Yeah, no, well, I'll re-watch it with the glasses in mind. But I love the story. I didn't know. I mean, I did know about the Sutton Hoo discovery, but I didn't know how important it was.
Yeah.
I thought, considering the subject matter, I mean, it was incredibly. It was a must-watch in a way. You had to. It kept me absolutely almost on the edge of my seat.
Viewing.
Yeah, compelling viewing.
It was. You're right. How it did that was quite something.
No,
because it wasn't
exactly.
conventionally edge of your seat, but it was edge
and I loved the way it looked. Loved it, and I would give it 87.
87.
Wow, 87. That's very, very specific. I thought this was an absolutely beautiful film. I thought it was beautifully acted. It was beautifully shot. It was very subtly and cleverly edited. I thought, bar the one moment of Lily James's glasses, you're right. I think you summed up, you kind of referenced that point that it was kind of edge of your seat without having anything particularly dramatic in that sense. And yet it was really dramatic of the heart, because you really care about every character in it. Certainly Carey Mulligan, her son, and Ray Fiennes. You really care about them. Ken Stott was brilliant. You cared about Ben Chaplin and Lily James's relationship. I thought that was quite clever to get us in on a new sort of relationship. So that all worked. But what I really liked about it, and I don't want to get too fucking wanky, I thought it was as a whole film, it was a really clever metaphor for what archaeology and history is all about. Because the mum's going to die, she's going to leave an imprint of herself left on her son. The excavator is going to leave things that he's found. You know, life is all about finding things and shards of this that's left behind,
So
and the
mortality,
influence of things.
basically.
Yeah, mortality, immortality. The fact that there is a big continuum that carries on beyond now.
Yeah.
It makes you think about what would be left of us from here, and so I find it quite rich and quite life-affirming and quite spiritual. And I thought it managed to do that without overtly doing it. If you know what I mean, I kind of just got that.
Through
like
character,
that.
really.
Yeah, through character, but also all that star stuff
Yeah,
with the telescope. I
yeah.
thought there was a point to him having a telescope, that they were looking at the stars and we were relating the stars, because there was all that stuff about the boy saying, when astronauts, do you think astronauts would do this, and how do you think aliens would be, you know, or something, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought, yeah, this is cosmic. This is cosmic shit.
Yeah,
you know, it's not just a ship.
Yeah.
In this, it's fucking big.
Yeah.
This is big shit.
Yeah, big
And I love all that. So for me, I'd give it probably 93.
Oh, wow.
Madelouche.
So I didn't really know anything about this, and obviously when I was given a description of it, I wasn't necessarily
Is that great?
thrilled.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, no, I really loved the way it was shot and how it was kind of modern, even though it was set. It was kind of like a period film. It felt like it was constantly building to something that didn't particularly happen, but I don't mean to say that it didn't happen and that was unsatisfying. Like it was still enjoyable to watch, but it was like it didn't need a big thing to make it an interesting film. And I thought it was a really strong film in like relationships and feelings and attachment to things.
Absolutely.
And really liked how they would have the audio from another scene that would kind of overlap onto. It was a bit like poetry. It was kind of like there was a poem being read over the top.
Yes.
But yeah, I was a bit worried when like all the new characters were introduced, like Lily James and her husband and stuff, thinking, oh, are they going to now try and bring all these other stories in, and we're not going to want them because we're going to just want the characters we're already settled with. But I actually ended up really liking Lily James and her husband's story.
Oh, okay,
and I really believed their relationship. Even though I still liked it, I felt the weakest part of the film probably was Lily James and Johnny's little
They just had to tidy that up a bit.
But I really thought that the little boy in it was amazing.
Oh God, he was
I thought the cast was really good in it.
Oh, I did.
There's no one I could
to a person
really fault apart from Lily's glasses.
Yeah,
Lily's glasses were atrocious. So I was thinking it, but I don't think anybody else was going to say it. But and I cried a lot in it. It was very sad. Yeah, I think I would give it probably 93 as well.
Wow. Oh, so I'm the lowest.
Why is it so low?
I don't know.
it's a film of unexpected riches. It's a bit like going on a dig. I wasn't expecting to dig up what we found.
No, nor me. And I don't know why in that case I seem to have marked it low. I don't know, the fact that it's on a small machine and it's Netflix, I don't know. It was...
I thought it was quite cinematic.
I'm sure.
I got similar 1917 vibes.
Yeah, I did too.
The way
some of
the colours and some of the really, really wide shots.
I felt like we had for a moment a sort of just an access to ancientness. No, good film. So I would fully recommend watching it.
Yes.
For more film and family fun, don't forget to click the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell to never miss an update.